First, CD Projekt Red CEO admits some players may never return after Cyberpunk 2077 launch. CD Projekt Red's leadership still believes the studio is working through the long shadow cast by Cyberpunk 2077's troubled launch, with joint CEO Michael Nowakowski suggesting that full player trust may never be fully restored. In a recent interview with Edge via Games Radar, Nowakowski reflected on the backlash surrounding Cyberpunk 2077's release, describing the period as heartbreaking for the studio. He reiterated that CD Projekt Red's reputation has long been one of its strongest assets, but acknowledged that the damage from the launch was significant and long lasting. I'm not 100% convinced we went through the full redemption arc, Nowakowski said. I'm convinced that we lost the faith of some people indefinitely, and that's a fair thing. But I do hope we will be able to make it back. If not with The Witcher 4, then with whatever comes next. The comments reflect a cautious optimism within the studio, even as Cyberpunk 2077 has experienced a strong recovery in the year since launch, bolstered by major updates, expansions, and renewed player interest. Despite that turnaround, CD Projekt Red appears aware that some players may remain unconvinced regardless of post-launch improvements. The statement also reads as a broader acknowledgement of how difficult it can be for major studios to recover from high-profile launches in the modern gaming landscape, where first impressions often define long-term perception. In the same interview, Nowakowski also addressed the studio's long-term development strategy. While CD Projekt Red intends to increase output over time, he stressed that the company does not want to become a studio that releases major titles on an annual cycle. Our dream is to be making more games, although we never want to turn into the studio that's going to be launching a big game every year, he explained. It may happen, but this is not the goal. We have a rough 10-year rolling plan, but the goal is not to flood the games market with CDPR games. Instead, the studio says it plans to focus on a smaller number of high-profile franchises, primarily The Witcher and Cyberpunk, rather than expanding into a wide portfolio of intellectual properties. Whether The Witcher 4 will serve as a true turning point for public perception remains to be seen, but eternally, CD Projekt Red appears to be under no illusion that its reputation has fully recovered, or that it ever completely will. Okay, I get it. There's no way that they ever will win back everyone they burned with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. There's always going to be at least one person, and I'm sure it's not just one. I'm sure it's multiple people that will never trust CD Projekt Red again with the disaster that was Cyberpunk 2077's launch. But it's also the same thing that happened with No Man's Sky. Different developer, but when No Man's Sky came out, everyone said it was boring. There was no content. It was just empty game, basically. And look how that turned out. It ended up once more content got added, it became one of everyone's favorite games. So there's I don't think, and it's not like Cyberpunk 2077 was an awful game. Um, I never played it at launch, but enough people gave it a chance where they came back for the extra content, they came back for the fixes, and they were able to at least win some of those people that were initially burned back. Um, so I don't think that like any long-term damage that is substantial from the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. It's kind of like No Man's Sky for Microsoft. Just at least I think Microsoft Game Studios made No Man's Sky. Just but I could be wrong on that. Um, but anyway, Cyberpunk 2077. Um, no one talks bad about it anymore. That's the thing. Now, if you're asking what someone thinks of Cyberpunk 2077 that played it and didn't quit right after the launch, or write it off right after the launch, you're not gonna get someone trashing a game. So I think that I think enough players will forgive you where if you don't do that again, release something that's not ready to be released, then you're not going to have to worry about it because, like I said, the hate that's originally existed for Cyberpunk 2077 is no longer there anymore. Now, CD Projekt Red also said that they don't want to become a game studio that releases AAA games every year. Good. Because we see this with the sports franchises that release every year. I mean, you got any sports franchise, 2K or the Madden series, MLB the Show. I could go on and on. These games have so little between entries in the series. You would think it would just be easier on everyone if they just released a roster update for as downloadable content instead of having to release a whole brand new game and expect people to pay full price for it again. So, um, good. If I mean, even Call of Duty, to be fair, Call of Duty, yeah, they released a game every year, but they had three different development teams working on it. So, like when this studio released the game one year, then next year was from this studio, next year was from this studio, and then the first studio released their next game 3 years later. So I don't know if that's still how it works, but that's how at least it used to work. They had three different development teams, and they all. That's why probably you got like Modern Warfare 3, the original. No, Modern Warfare 2. Excuse me. Then you got Black Ops. Then was Modern Warfare 3 next, or was it something else between Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, and Modern Warfare 3? I think 3 came out. I think Modern Warfare 3 came out after the first Black Ops. Again, I think so. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But I think that's how it went. And yeah, it's better to take years between every game than just be on this annual release schedule because even the people who released WWE, at least they used to develop at Ukes. They said that they were always in crunch time. They said when like SmackDown versus Raw 2010 hit the store on release day, they had already been working on SmackDown versus Raw 2011. And back when the games were released in October, um, someone toured like a Ukes office in January, and you saw pillows and blankets under the desks. Developers were sleeping under their desk just to get the games out every single year. So you're gonna burn people. You're gonna burn your employees out if you tried an every year release, especially if it doesn't have to be every year. And then you got what how if you burn your employees out because they're so tired from working, are they gonna have ideas of what to add? No, that's gonna dry up soon. Sure, they'll come up with a thing here or there, but if they have to release a $60 game every single year, or now it's more, people are going to be like, what am I getting for my 60, 70, $80? So I know CD Projekt Red said over the next 10 years they're planning three Witcher games. So like we should get The Witcher 4, 5, and 6 over the next 10 years. Um, and even that sounds like a big undertaking because even though it's three games in 10 years, they're not small games. They're the Witcher games. So yeah, I don't think to recap, I don't think they burned too much trust to bounce back from the disastrous launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Did every single person come back? Obviously not. Every person, there's at least one person out there that will probably never trust CD Projekt Red again, and you're gonna have that if you have a bad game, especially at launch. Um, Good that they don't want to release games every year because with how big games are and how expensive they are, you do not want to. That's if you're trying to release a series of games every once per year, you're gonna burn out your employees, and then it's gonna show. and then the games aren't going to have that value where people should buy them every year anyway. As for The Witcher 4, will that bring people back? I think it'll bring a lot of core fans back for CD Projekt Red. Um, what do they have planned other than The Witcher 4, 5, and 6? If their 10-year plan doesn't get derailed or changed, I have no idea what else they have, but we'll see how things go with The Witcher 4 and see what CD Projekt Red does after.